For years, grocery aisles have been promising that the foods inside will protect the very people who need it most. Old folks, told to follow the heart-healthy path, fill their carts with products carrying that magic phrase, trusting it like a prescription. But in late 2024 into 2025, independent lab tests and federal safety updates reveal that some of these so-called heart protectors are quietly dosing older Americans with heavy metals and banned chemicals. These substances can weaken bones, raise blood pressure, and chip away at memory with every bite. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has pointed to these findings as a warning sign, a symptom of a deeper problem in America's food culture, where marketing can steadily poison the very generation it claims to care for. If heart healthy can sit side by side with lead, cadmium, and additives banned across the EU, then what exactly have we been feeding our family? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. Today we pull back the curtain on 7 foods labeled heart healthy that are slowly poisoning our seniors, and why every American kitchen should pay attention. Number 1. Whole grain bread. It's the kind of food that wears its goodness like a uniform. Earth-tone bags, rustic fonts, slices dotted with seeds, and confident phrases like multigrain, fiber-rich, and heart-healthy splashed across the front. For decades, older Americans have been told by doctors and health campaigns to make the switch from white bread to whole grain as a way to guard their hearts and lower cholesterol. The image feels safe. A warm slice of toast with peanut butter in the morning, a turkey sandwich at lunch, maybe another with soup at dinner. But testing in late 2024 and early 2025 shattered that trust. Some loaves, especially the big-name, mass-produced, and budget versions, have turned up with measurable amounts of arsenic, cadmium, and lead. Arsenic isn't just a scary word. It's a carcinogen linked to heart disease, bladder cancer, and even diabetes. Cadmium can quietly weaken kidneys and leach calcium from bones, making breaks far more likely. Lead strikes at the nervous system, dulling the mind while driving up blood pressure and raising the risk of strokes. Across the Atlantic, the EU's tougher heavy metal limits would block certain US whole grain breads from shelves entirely. Here, the heart-shaped icons still smile from the packaging, as if nothing were wrong. The contamination often begins at the root, literally. Whole grains like wheat, oats, and especially rice, a common filler in multi-grain blends, act like sponges for metals and polluted soil. That soil may have been tainted by industrial runoff, mining residue, or pesticides banned decades ago, but still lingering. Shared milling equipment in industrial bakeries can add another layer of risk, and seeds like flax or sunflower, if sourced from contaminated regions, can push the total heavy metal load even higher. Then there are the chemical hitchhikers. Potassium bromate, a flour treatment agent banned in the EU, UK, Canada, and more for its cancer risk, still turns up in some US loaves. Aluminum additives like sodium aluminum phosphate, used in certain extra soft breads, are linked to neurotoxicity and bone loss. Titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022, has been found in some bread coatings purely for cosmetic appeal. It's a bitter irony. The bread marketed as the backbone of a heart-healthy diet can carry substances known to damage the very heart, brain, and bones it claims to protect. The betrayal stings because bread isn't a once-in-a-while indulgence. It's a daily habit. Many older Americans eat it 2 or 3 times a day, believing it's one of the smartest health choices they can make. For those on fixed incomes, store brand or bulk loaves seem like a smart way to follow dietary guidelines. But if those slices are quietly delivering a steady drip of heavy metals and banned chemicals, then every sandwich becomes another quiet step toward the illnesses they were trying to avoid. You can still enjoy bread without the baggage. Support local bakeries that use flour from trusted mills with public heavy metal testing. Choose breads made with single, low-risk grains like organic wheat or rye instead of multigrain blends with rice flour. If you bake at home, buy certified low-heavy metal flour and try sourdough fermentation, which may reduce some contaminants. And when buying packaged bread, read the fine print. Skip any loaf listing potassium bromate, aluminum additives, or titanium dioxide. If even our healthiest daily staple can hide poisons behind a heart-shaped label, how many more everyday foods are quietly working against the very lives they claim to protect? Number 2. Canned soup. Those cans feel almost timeless, tucked into American cupboards for generations, ready to pop open with a familiar hiss, pour into a pot, and fill the kitchen with the smell of home. The front of the can wears its health halo proudly. little red heart icons, reassuring words like reduced sodium, low fat, and sometimes even endorsements aligned with the American Heart Association's guidelines. You picture it as the caring choice for an aging parent on a winter evening, or for yourself when energy is low. A warm, quick meal that seems both wholesome and safe. But lab results from 2024 and early 2025 tell a story that's hard to swallow. Tests show that many of these soups, including those proudly stamped with heart healthy, contain worrying levels of cadmium and lead. Two heavy metals with no place in a senior's diet. They're invisible, they don't change the taste, and they can't be boiled away, yet they quietly lodge in the kidneys, strain the heart, and chip away at bone strength over time. Cadmium is especially cruel to older bodies. It can linger for decades, eroding bones until even a small misstep can cause a fracture. Lead isn't kinder, it raises blood pressure, dulls mental clarity, and increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Ironically, the very people these soups are marketed to, seniors guarding their heart health, are the ones most vulnerable to the harm. In the European Union, stricter heavy metal limits would force some of these healthy cans off the shelves entirely. In the United States, they sit in the good-for-you aisle without a single warning. The contamination can creep in from many angles. Vegetables grown in metal-heavy soils, water pulled from polluted sources, or even the industrial cooking equipment that leaches metals during processing. And it's not just the metals. Many heart-healthy soups come with an extra dose of risky additives. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, still appears to boost flavor, despite restrictions in some countries for its links to headaches and blood pressure spikes. Aluminum additives like sodium aluminum phosphate, banned in certain EU food uses, often appear as thickeners. In creamy varieties, titanium dioxide has been found, banned in the EU since 2022 for potential DNA damage. Combined with heavy metals, these chemicals turn a comforting bowl into something far more dangerous than it looks. The sting is in the trust. For seniors on fixed incomes, canned soup is a lifeline. Affordable, shelf-stable, easy to open, and portioned just right. It promises vegetables, protein, and warmth without the cost or physical strain of cooking from scratch. And yet, this very convenience can work against the body it's meant to help, slowly raising blood pressure, weakening bones, and clouding memory. There are safer ways to keep soup in your life. Making big batches at home with fresh or frozen vegetables from tested, clean sources can give you the same warmth without the baggage. Just freeze portions for later. If you buy canned, choose brands that post independent heavy metal testing, and skip those with additives like MSG or titanium dioxide. Glass jar soups from small batch producers can also be a cleaner option, and dry mixes made from whole grains or legumes let you control the sodium and seasonings yourself. But the question that lingers over every spoonful is this: if even foods dressed in the symbols of health can carry poisons capable of shortening our lives, how much of what we believe is good for us is just a story told on a label? While the truth quietly erodes our future? Number 3. Instant oatmeal. It's sold as the clever person's breakfast. A quick stir, a splash of hot water, and you've got something the commercials swear will love your heart back. You've seen the ads, silver-haired couples at sunny kitchen tables, steam curling from their bowls, while smiling dietitians nod approvingly. For decades, instant oatmeal has been the safe swap from sugary cereals, the warm, dependable choice you can feel good about. But late 2024 into early 2025 brought a wave of testing that cracked that comfort wide open. Independent labs and updated FDA reports found that some instant oatmeal packets, yes, even the plain ones, carry elevated levels of cadmium, lead, and arsenic. Not microdots you can shrug off, but amounts that, eaten daily, can quietly stack up until bones weaken, kidneys falter, and the mind loses its sharpness. Oats don't have to work hard to get contaminated. They simply grow where they're planted. If that soil holds the ghosts of old pesticides, sits downstream from industrial runoff, or lies within breathing distance of mining sites, those metals seep into every grain. Add in irrigation water laced with pollutants, and the risk spikes. Processing takes it further. Many instant oatmeal brands blend in rice flour, notorious for arsenic, or toss in dried fruits that carry their own lead and cadmium load. And because oatmeal is pitched as a daily habit, this isn't a once-in-a-while exposure. It's a slow drip into a toxic bank account you never signed up for. The chemical hitchhikers are just as alarming. Flavored packets often bring yellow 5 and red 40 artificial colors banned in foods for children in several European countries and flagged by the EU for ties to hyperactivity and behavioral changes. Creamy varieties can contain titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022 over DNA damage concerns, and monosodium glutamate, MSG, restricted in multiple countries for its links to blood pressure spikes and metabolic disruption. Put all that alongside heavy metals, and your heart-friendly breakfast starts to look like a long-term health liability. This is where the betrayal cuts deep. Instant oatmeal isn't just a food, it's part of the American self-image of responsible eating. Seniors on fixed incomes buy it in bulk, thinking it's an affordable, nutrient-rich staple. Parents send it to school with kids believing it's a cleaner start to the day. But those same packets can deliver poisons that threaten not just the person holding the spoon, but the generation that follows. If metals like cadmium and lead, already proven to damage developing brains, are in a breakfast we trust without question, then we're feeding a problem that could outlive us. Escaping the trap takes intention. Switch to steel-cut or old-fashioned oats from brands that publish batch-specific heavy metal test results and steer clear of rice-based blends. Buy from local mills or farmers who can show soil and water safety reports. Skip the pre-flavored packets and build your own with fresh fruit, spices, and natural sweeteners. Blueberries, freshly ground cinnamon sticks, and a drizzle of raw honey can transform plain oats without adding a single banned chemical. For speed, soak oats overnight in milk or yogurt and top with nuts or seeds in the morning. No boiling water, no hidden toxins. So here's the question that should stop us mid-bite. If even the humble bowl of oatmeal, wrapped in heart-shaped logos and decades of doctor-approved marketing, can smuggle in poisons banned across much of the world, how many of America's most responsible food choices are just illusions, quietly rewriting the health of our families and the future of our country? Number 4. Canned tuna. It has long been the quiet workhorse of the American pantry. Cheap, packed with protein, and the shining example in every "Eat More Fish" health brochure. For generations, older Americans have trusted it as a lean, heart-conscious staple, tossing it into salads, tucking it into sandwiches, or folding it into casseroles without a shadow of doubt. The image is wholesome, almost sentimental. A small tin cracked open at the kitchen table, promising nourishment and longevity. But late 2024 and early 2025 lab results have burned away that innocence. Multiple U.S. brand tests revealed troublingly high levels of mercury, lead, and cadmium. Heavy metals infamous for their long-term, deeply damaging effects on the heart, brain, and bones. Mercury is the most notorious, a neurotoxin capable of slowing reflexes, clouding memory, and provoking dangerous heart arrhythmias. Lead pushes blood pressure higher, weakens artery walls, and speeds up cognitive decline. Cadmium targets the kidneys, stripping calcium from bones and leaving them brittle enough to break from minor falls. The European Union sets far stricter caps on mercury in fish. Products that pass without warning in the US would be yanked from shelves there. Yet here they remain stacked in the healthy protein aisle, dressed in heart symbols and boasting omega-3 claims. This isn't random bad luck. Tuna at the top of the food chain live long enough to accumulate heavy metals year after year. Larger, older fish, prized for their dense flesh, are precisely the ones most likely to carry the highest contamination. Fishing in polluted waters magnifies the load, and the massive processing plants that serve multiple brands mix sources so thoroughly that one tainted batch can silently spread into dozens of different product lines. By the time the lid is sealed, no consumer can tell clean from contaminated. The danger doesn't end with metals. Some flavored tuna pouches and canned varieties hide chemicals from the high-risk list. Titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022 for its potential to damage DNA, shows up in certain white tuna products to brighten their color. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, Nordsjäder, restricted in several countries for links to blood pressure spikes and metabolic disruption, is used to intensify flavor. Even sucralose, an artificial sweetener banned from some children's foods abroad over gut health concerns, has been found in diet tuna lines. When these additives pile onto the heavy metal content, the result is far from the health-boosting meal the label suggests. The betrayal bites deep because canned tuna has been woven into the culture of smart eating for seniors. Affordable, portable, and endlessly versatile. It's It's a lifeline for widowed retirees, fixed-income families, and anyone trying to keep cholesterol in check. Yet in the effort to protect their hearts, many are unknowingly dosing themselves with substances that erode heart function, dull the mind, and shorten the years they've fought so hard to preserve. Seafood can still be part of a healthy diet, but the choices must be sharper. Smaller fish like sardines and mackerel naturally hold far less mercury and deliver omega-3s in abundance. Skipjack tuna, lower on the food chain, is safer than albacore, especially from brands that publish batch-specific heavy metal test results matching or exceeding EU standards. Canned salmon, particularly wild Alaskan, is another clean, protein-rich swap. For flavor, season seafood yourself at home with lemon, herbs, and cold-pressed olive oil, skipping the factory-made additive mixes altogether. Number 5. Peanut butter. It's the comfort food that bridges generations. The quick breakfast spread on warm toast, the spoonful stirred into oatmeal, the guilty pleasure eaten straight from the jar. Peanut butter wears its heart-healthy image like a crown, praised for plant-based protein, unsaturated fats, and a price tag that fits almost any budget. Doctors have recommended it for its good fats, athletes for sustained energy, and fixed-income households for its shelf life and versatility. But late 2024 into early 2025 brought a sobering twist. Multiple independent tests uncovered that many peanut butter brands, both conventional and natural, harbor lead, cadmium, and arsenic in amounts that can chip away at health one bite at a time. Peanuts grow underground, their roots in constant contact with soil that may carry the chemical memory of decades-old pesticides, industrial waste, or naturally high-metal deposits. This makes them magnets for heavy metals. Lead, a known neurotoxin, accelerates cognitive decline and elevates blood pressure. Cadmium attacks kidneys and drains calcium from bones, a devastating blow for seniors already battling osteoporosis. Arsenic, especially in its inorganic form, carries a grim association with cancers of the bladder, skin, and lungs. Under the EU's tighter safety limits, some US peanut butters wouldn't even make it to the shelf. The danger doesn't stop at metals. Many commercial varieties bring along chemical additives from the high-risk list. Hydrogenated oils are used to keep the texture smooth, but some blends sneak in aluminum additives like sodium aluminum phosphate, restricted in the EU due to its potential to impair brain function. Reduced sugar versions often swap sweetness for sucralose or acesulfame K, artificials, sweeteners banned in children's products in several countries for suspected cancer links and metabolic disruption. Flavored peanut butters may also contain titanium dioxide, prohibited in the EU since 2022 for its potential to damage DNA. The sting lies in how personal peanut butter is to American life. It's a no-cook meal for seniors living alone, a trusted calorie booster for caregivers tending to loved ones, and a lunchbox staple parents believe is wholesome. But behind that good fats reputation, each serving can be a quiet delivery system for toxins, undetected, unmeasured, and steadily accumulating in bodies over years. Protecting yourself means being intentional. Choose brands that release batch-specific heavy metal test results instead of vague safety claims. Buy jars with only peanuts and salt listed on the label. No hydrogenated oils, no aluminum, no sweeteners. Skip diet or low-sugar versions that rely on chemical substitutes. If possible, grind your own peanuts at a co-op or grocery store with an in-house nut grinder. For variety, consider almond or sunflower seed butter from verified low-metal sources, but check labels for additive-free assurance. If even the humble jar of peanut butter, woven into the rhythm of millions of American lives, can hide metals and chemicals banned across much of the world, what does that say about the foundation of our food culture? How many small, daily rituals are quietly undoing the very health they're supposed to protect? Number 6. Yogurt cups. They line the dairy aisle like tiny trophies of wellness, chilled, colorful, and portioned into perfect little servings that whisper promises of strong bones, calm digestion, and a healthier heart. The labels beam with words like probiotic, protein-rich, and live cultures, making them seem like the kind of food you could eat every single day without a flicker of worry. For older Americans, yogurt cups have been sold as a graceful way to age well, easy to digest, quick to grab, and supposedly packed with benefits. But in late 2024 and early 2025, independent lab analyses and updated U.S. food safety reviews expose an unsettling reality. Certain single-serve yogurts, particularly the flavored ones, are carrying lead, cadmium, and even arsenic. The pathway is disturbingly simple. Cows fed crops grown in heavy metal-rich soil or irrigated with contaminated water can pass lead and cadmium straight into the milk supply. Old or poorly maintained machinery in large dairy plants can leach additional metals during processing. For seniors faithfully eating yogurt for bone strength and heart health, this is a cruel reversal. Cadmium eating away at bone density, lead spiking blood pressure and slowing memory, and arsenic quietly stacking cancer risks over time. Under the EU's tighter standards for heavy metals in dairy, some of these products would never leave the warehouse, let alone sit in the healthy aisle. And metals aren't the only enemy hiding in that cup. Many fruit on the bottom, dessert style, or light yogurts bring along chemicals from the high-risk list. Titanium dioxide, added to make colors brighter and whites whiter, has been banned in the EU since 2022 for its potential to damage DNA. Artificial dyes like Red 40, Yellow 5, and Yellow 6 are restricted or banned in multiple countries for their links to hyperactivity and behavioral changes. Yet they're swirling inside a food marketed as good for you. Artificial sweeteners such as aspartame or sucralose, both banned from certain children's products abroad due to suspected cancer and metabolic effects, are common in low-calorie options. These are not harmless extras. They're part of a chemical profile that undermines the very health yogurt is meant to protect. The sting here is cultural as much as physical. Yogurt isn't just another snack. It's a symbol of mindful eating in America. Seniors stir it into their morning bowls, caregivers offer it to recovering patients, and countless households stock it as the safe choice. Yet these same cups can be quiet delivery systems for toxins banned across oceans, eroding health with each spoonful. You can avoid the trap by seeking plain, unsweetened yogurt from brands that disclose feed and water testing for their dairy sources, and that publish batch-specific heavy metal results. Skip any cup listing artificial colors, titanium dioxide, or artificial sweeteners. Sweeten plain yogurt at home with berries, cinnamon, or a drizzle of raw honey. Greek yogurt from smaller, reputable dairies often carries higher protein and, when sourced cleanly, a lower contamination risk. But here's the question that should stick with you long after the cup is empty. If even yogurt, a food draped in the language of healing and balance, can hide metals and chemicals that slowly weaken the heart, the mind, and the bones, then how much of America's health food aisle is really just a slow poison aisle with better lighting? Number 7. Canned tomato products. They sit on the pantry shelf like the very definition of cooking from scratch. Bright red labels, sun-drenched fields pictured on the front, and bold claims of heart-healthy benefits. From pasta sauces to crushed tomatoes, they're marketed as pure vegetable goodness, brimming with lycopene and antioxidants. For older Americans trying to eat better, the pitch is irresistible. Home-style flavor with the promise of supporting heart health and aging gracefully. But tests in late 2024 and into 2025 from independent labs and food safety agencies have shown that some canned tomato products contain worrying levels of lead, cadmium, and sometimes arsenic. The contamination starts in the field. Tomatoes grown in soil tainted by industrial runoff, long-banned pesticides, or near mining sites can absorb heavy metals directly through their roots. Polluted irrigation water adds another layer. Once processed, tomatoes are concentrated into paste, puree, or sauce, magnifying even small initial contamination into a stronger dose. For seniors, cadmium weakens bones, lead harms the heart and brain, and arsenic raises cancer risks, turning a plate of pasta into a silent gamble. And it's not just the fruit. Some brands use aluminum additives like sodium aluminum phosphate, restricted in the EU for neurotoxicity, to adjust acidity or texture. Others add titanium dioxide, banned in the EU since 2022 for potential DNA damage, to keep the red uniform. Flavored sauces often contain monosodium glutamate, MSG, restricted in multiple countries for its links to high blood pressure and metabolic strain. To cut risk, choose glass-jarred sauces from brands with published heavy metal testing, or freeze summer tomatoes for year-round use. If you buy canned, pick BPA-free linings and avoid products with aluminum additives, titanium dioxide, or MSG. And here's the question that lingers. If even a can of tomatoes, symbol of home cooking and health, can hide toxins banned abroad, What else in our cupboards wears a false halo? If our trusted foods hide such dangers, what truths remain buried? Subscribe now. Let's uncover them together before it's too late.
Thank you for watching today's video all the way through. If you found the content helpful, don't forget to click like and subscribe to stay updated to our latest daily videos. Now feel free to check out other feature videos currently shown on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.